how that player develops. They should be the drive behind that. No,
Yes,
absolutely no question about it. Hey, how about the listener question? What do you do during the season to prevent injuries and keep your players healthy? And I know that you're probably lacking some older numbers this year. And
right.
I've been on teams and programs that have lacked a lot of depth. And what's some of your ideas? You want me to go first on this one?
Yeah, you got it. That's good.
Yeah. I'll tell you some of the things that I've done in the past is, I usually don't take down tackle. I don't take to the ground and tackle. I just never have. I mean, there's certain I've done it before. I'm not saying I've never done it, but for the most part, on a regular basis, we don't really take to the ground, or we didn't when I was the head coach. I always had a quick whistle. I sometimes there was a time when I used two whistles. One was, to stop the contact, and the other was to get everybody to the ball. I think a lot of people have used that drill before in the past, but I've done that before. I also think, David, to prevent injury, you should lift weights during the season. You should have some sort of a weightlifting program during the season. I think building that strength and flexibility that helps prevent injuries, no question about it in my mind. I think conditioning. You need a good conditioned football team. Unconditioned players get hurt more often. That's a fact. If they're not in condition, they're not going to be ready to fall on the ground, or they're not going to be ready to burst and go full speed. So I think your football team needs to be well conditioned. I think you need to lift weights. I think your full speed, and I think you can go full speed, but in a controlled type of way in practice. I think the blocking and the execution should be full speed. I think when it gets to the tackling and the falling on the ground is when it should be controlled. I think you've got to remind your players to stay up. Don't go to the ground all the time. You got to, they're always going to fall and be clumsy and hit the ground. Just got to remind them, hey, guys, stay up, stay up. When you go to the ground, people roll on top of each other. That's when you get injured. And, of course, I think you got to get your quarterback club, get your school to buy the best equipment you can afford. Put them in the best equipment you can afford. And I think all of those things combined, make sure it helps keep your players safe during the season.
Hey, I think you hit on a lot of the same things, and I don't want to belabor that. So, staying off the ground. I don't. But here's a few things maybe that are a little bit different. I love our Wednesday morning practice in season. It's cooler. Heat leads to fatigue. That leads to injury. You can go a lot. You can get a lot more done. You can go a lot more live. I don't even know if I'm using a word that exists. And then you get more recovery for the Friday night game. So I like our Wednesday morning practices. I just think they're productive. We get a lot done. I think this is going to sound like an obvious thing, but I don't think it is. I think teaching fundamentals well at a high level and really in the off-season. And you said the question's good because it's about during the season, but I think the off-season is so critical to in-season staying healthy. I just think it's really hard to separate. But I think you got to teach fundamentals at a high level, because if you're not doing a good job at teaching fundamentals, I think those are the kids that get hurt, the ones that don't know how to play. And it reminded me, I hope you don't mind me sharing a story. My dad played on the first football team at London High School. They had a meeting to hire a coach. They were going to hire the math teacher and make him the coach, or go out and get a real football coach. My grandmother, there are math teachers that are great football coaches. Reese, Shawn Thompson. So I don't want to get any hate mail from Reese and so forth. But the math teacher in particular was not a football coach. Okay, let me rephrase that. Well, my grandmother, who has no problems telling you what she thinks, she stood up and she told them all. She said, if you don't hire somebody that knows what they're doing, my son will not play football. Because that's the nature of the game. If you hire a guy to coach the chess team and he can't spell chess, nobody's going to get hurt. But if you hire somebody that doesn't understand football, the kids are going to get hurt. And then the last thing that I would say that I think gets underestimated, I think the surface of the field and where you practice is critical. Now, that can go into staying off the field. But I mean, that's another reason that I love the Bermuda, is because it's a great safe service. So if people do go down, at least it's softer, it's uniform, and I like that piece of it.
Yeah, you're like that Bermuda. You must not be the one that has to line it all the time.
I'm not, and you're right. No, you're right. But hey, just like today though, we could go outside today because we weren't on turf. If there had been turf, we couldn't go outside, but we could. Our kids played our freshman JV game today on the Bermuda, and you're right. There's maintenance and there's a hassle, but I mean, you and I have had this conversation a million times. I love Bermuda grass. I think it's awesome. I mean, they'll probably, when Stephanie buries me, they'll put Bermuda sod on the grave. So.
Yeah. Hey, David, let's get into our games of the week. How about it?
Hey, well, our first one is Paintsville